Welcome to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati Spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Now here along with Dr. Bonati, your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Well, thank you for joining us for American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by our friend Aaron Jacobson. He is in for the vacationing Ethan Euchre as producer of our program, so thank you for being here.
Stay away, Ethan. I'm having fun.
We have our radio senior fellow Jeff Wagstaff to my right.
Good afternoon. Does Aaron not sound incredible on the mic? He's just got that radio pipe.
You're going to make me blush.
And across from me, we have world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute. Thanks for sharing your time with us, sir.
God bless you.
Well, you know, we have an exciting jam-packed show today. We'll get to that in a minute. But what sets the Bonati Spine Institute apart from everyone else is the experience that our doctors have, and that stems from Dr. Bonati. Dr. Bonati, when he first started out in medicine, he started with traditional open spine surgery, and he saw that there was not an effective treatment for people, that they were still suffering with a lot of debilitating pain. And, you know, we've done the statistics before where they say a one-level fusion, we're talking typical open spine surgery fusion, can reflect at least a 65% failure rate. It goes up if you do 2 to 3 spinal fusions of that invasive method, and it can be a staggering 85+% of failure. With those type of odds, it really touched Dr. Bonati's heart, and he set out on a way to develop his own methods and patented tools and instrumentation to be able to bring relief to the masses. And the procedure that I'm referring to is the Bonati spine procedure. Nobody else does this procedure except Dr. Bonati and the folks at the Bonati Spine Institute in Hudson. If you were someone you know suffering in pain, you can reach out at 855-267-0483 or visit Bonati.com. With that said, we always like getting people back in motion, so we'll hear more. But coming up, we have John Sullivan, Director of America, Imagine the World Without Her. We can't wait to hear more from him because they actually shot part of the film here in Florida, I believe at Fort DeSoto Beach. We'll touch on that later. And then we have Dr. Michael O'Neill from Cooperative Med. He has a concierge medicine facility, and this doctor's amazing. We covered him on our television show that'll be airing soon, and he does some wonderful things. And then we'll hear about Barack's Croc and a little what's new in American medicine today. But up first,
In today's Back to Life segment, we will talk to a patient of the Bonati Spine Institute who went from living a life that was restricted by pain and discomfort through their journey of finding the Bonati Spine Institute and are now living pain-free.
well, it is my pleasure to introduce to you patient John Dietrich, and he is calling in from Bradenton. I just wanted to say hello and thank you for joining us.
How are you today?
Good, good. Well, how about you? You have quite an amazing story, and why don't you tell us how you came to be in pain and kind of that journey to seek treatment, and then how you ended up at the Bonati Spine Institute?
I hurt myself I fell on my boat in 2004. Okay. Damaged my lower lumbar, S1, L5, L4, and L3.
Okay.
Had more spasms, muscle spasms for the first 3 to 4 years. No sciatica or leg pain.
Okay.
Of course, now we're going to blame the boat again because in 2009 I like to fish, and I was in the Keys. Mm-hmm. And I fished rough water all week, and at the end of it, I couldn't walk. I was done. I was bent over. I came back and had a series of steroids that would help it some, but it increasingly got worse. I went to see Dr. Bonati in 2010.
Okay.
And went through their nerve exams and everything, and had actually set up an appointment to have the surgery. Mm-hmm. And to give them credit, it had lightened up a lot.
Okay.
And John Grossmith, my doctor, came in when I was up there the day before my surgery and had found out that my pain had lessened, and he actually came in and told me to get out of there, which I find kind of rare with doctors and everything. So I came home, and for 4 or 5 years I had pain, but we'd call it maybe a 2 to 3 as opposed to an 8 to 9.
Got it.
Last October, out of nowhere, it turned into about 11.5. in my right leg. I've done everything. I've had acupuncture. I had a teeter where I hung upside down. I've had epidural injections. I've had traction. In February of last year, I actually went to a little town in Germany outside of Stuttgart for a guy that had new procedures over there. I went through a week of therapy with him. Didn't help me a bit. Came back, called the Bonati Institute again, set up an appointment, went up to talk to him. I had the surgery on the 8th of April and have had zero problems since then. So that's kind of a rough idea of what I've been through.
Wow.
So 10 years of pain and 8 months of pleasure. So that's where I'm at right now.
That's fantastic. So you even went to Germany to try to seek treatment for your problem, and that didn't help.
Yes, ma'am. I went a little deeper. My brother's ex-wife's married to an accountant in Sarasota, and does this doctor. He's a neurosurgeon,
Right.
but he quit doing neurosurgery. And in this little town, he does. I wouldn't call it chiropractic, but it's manipulation. And Germany's done studies, and he runs about a 65% success rate.
Right.
And I'm all for it if people can be fixed, with this kind of procedure. But somebody's got to be in the 35% that stuff doesn't work, and that was me. So I rode wheelchairs in every airport all the way over, and I rode in wheelchairs all the way back. I couldn't stand up at any time for more than 3 minutes. I'd have to sit down. I had electric shocks in my leg that would last 4, 5, 6 minutes after that. Wow. Basically, I had no life. I'm a building contractor, and I like to be outdoors. And I was looking at the rest of my life sitting in a chair watching the world go by.
So
and that doesn't excite you very much.
No, I guess not. But what was that like for you? You said you came in, and after your procedure, you were pain-free. I mean, did you think that would be the case when you suffered in pain for quite a multitude of years? That stuff doesn't, I mean, for you, you sought out a treatment that didn't help. You sought out other things. You came in and you're pain-free. What is that feeling like for you?
Well, it wasn't as much of a mystery as you might think. My wife is a financial officer at a charter school in Palmetto. And her boss, I actually used him as a guinea pig. 5 years ago, when I was getting the nerve test, he was having surgery on his upper spine. And he had researched everywhere, and this was his decision to come up there. So that's kind of how I found out about it.
Oh, to come to Bonati.
Right.
Oh,
so
okay.
He's had, his name's Dr. Bill Jones, and he runs, he's the CEO of Manatee School for the Arts.
Got it.
And he had 2 procedures done up there. Now, and one of the reasons that probably made me really want to come was he had the first surgery on a Wednesday. He went back to work on Monday. He had the second procedure done that Wednesday, and he went back to work on Friday. And when I went to see 3 neurosurgeons in Sarasota and Bradenton, and they wanted spinal fusion. The success rate's 15 or 16%. It was 6 months of recovery from the back, having my back cut with that kind of percentage, and I just kept putting that off. And when Bill went up there, to me, you can always do more, but you can't take it back.
Correct.
And so this procedure was a lot simpler, and the doctors up there said I didn't need spinal fusion. Now, I have had other doctors look at my MRI in between that time and now, and my daughter is a physician's assistant in Brandon, and her husband's an internist, and she has actually sent my MRI to Tampa Hospital, and to a T, not one of those doctors thought that I should have spinal fusion.
Right.
And so this procedure, to me, seemed like the easiest in the best way. And I had great hopes whenever I went up there. I really didn't expect the pain. Just within 2 weeks, my pain was gone. That was surgery pain. I went to see Jimmy Buffett a week after my surgery and walked 3/4 of a mile at the amphitheater at the fairgrounds and stood up the whole time and turned around and walked back to my car.
Hey, that's pretty good after surgery.
Well,
That's not too bad. So, I mean, and I'll be honest, I know a bunch of people that have had spinal fusion, and I know zero that are not having problems with it.
Got
so,
it.
you know, I think I told everybody before, I don't have anything bad to say about that doctor in his hospital.
Right.
It's not going to happen. So, and they had recommended 2 surgeries that I might need them. And when John came back in, he told me, he said, I think I got it all this time. And the man must know what he's doing, because he was right. So, you know, I mean, to me, people are crazy if they don't come up there and have this procedure looked at. You know, I've got an uncle, this is the truth, that right now inside their hospital they have his MRI. He lives just outside of Columbus, Ohio, and he's 87 years old, and I'm not sure he's a candidate, but after he's talked to me, he has sent the information down to see if it's possible.
Right.
My internist that I go for a physical every year has now recommended 4 people to come up there.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Because of me. Because I go in and have physicals, and he goes, how you doing? And I'm back exercising. I walk 3 miles a night. I ride my bike 10 miles every time I go out. I stand up. I go do things. I'm careful because I don't want to, no offense, I'd just soon come back up there to visit. I don't really want to come back up there for any problems. But, you know, all the way around, I'm a happy man. That's all I can tell you. So
John,
don't get in the boat when there's a hurricane around.
no, I'll tell you what I did, Doctor. I sold it. Okay, I kept my little flats boat, but I had a bigger boat, and as you probably know, bigger boats go bigger places, and you get yourself in trouble sometimes. So I would go out and use it, and there'd be a boat wake come by or something, and it scared me. So, because I don't want that pain again. I mean, I've shot myself with nails and cut myself with knives.
Ouch.
If people haven't had this pain, they have no idea of how excruciating it can be. Just, you know, so the boat's gone. So we're not going to have trouble with that anymore, I promise.
Well, good. Well, John, you know, it's interesting because you mentioned another gentleman, Dr. Bill Jones. He was on last week's program talking
really?
about
Was
his
he?
experience. So how ironic. But thank you very much for sharing your story with us. And we're glad you're doing so well and back to all those fun activities that you should have been doing all along.
Yeah, well, I told John Grossmith when I went in, I said, I've got 2 twin 9-month baby granddaughters. And I've got a 6-week-old granddaughter, and I said, if nothing else, can you please fix me up so I can go play with them? And I'm playing with them every day. So, you know, like I said, I'm your best advertisement in Braidman right now, and I will continue to do that.
Well, John, we'll let Dr. Grossmith know that those grandchildren are just flat wearing you out. We hope you had a great holiday.
And he's dancing to Margaritaville at Jimmy Buffett.
Yes.
And my guess he's probably having
well, sure. You know, we got to be careful what we talk about there. Now.
my guess is he probably had a couple adult beverages while he's out there listening to that Jimmy Buffett music. But thank you for joining us.
All righty. Well, thank you very much for calling.
Thank you. Continue good health, John. Take care.
All righty. Thank you. You all have a wonderful holiday.
You
You
too.
too.
Kimberly, if somebody's in the same boat as John,
Oh, doom.
having any kind of neck, back, headaches, how can they reach out to the Bonati Spine Institute?
Well, they can give us a call at 855-267-0483 or reach out to Bonati.com. Also, if you have a Twitter account, you can tweet at Dr. Bonati or hashtag American Medicine Today. With that said, we're going to come up to a break and we're going to speak with John Sullivan, director of America, Imagine a World Without Her. We'll hear more coming up soon. Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden, I can cook, and I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Well, thank you for joining us for American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by Aaron Jacobson, our executive producer for the day, as he fills in for Ethan Euchre. Thanks for being here.
Well, my fun's just started, and now it seems like it's going to be over soon.
I know. I know, but you're always welcome on our show.
Thank you.
And we have our senior fellow, Jeff Wagstaff, over here.
It's good to have Aaron. Maybe we can delay, no disrespect for Ethan, but maybe we could just delay his flight coming back, and we'll keep you for another week.
You heard it here first, folks. And across from me, we have world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute.
Hello.
You're going to be excited, Dr. Bonati, because we have on the line John Sullivan. He is director and producer of several films, including the smash hit 2016 Obama's America and The Latest. And he worked in conjunction with Dinesh D'Souza on America, Imagine the World Without Her, and it's now available on DVD and on demand. I have to say welcome to the program, John. And what an absolutely amazing movie America Imagine the World Without Her was. I was amazed that something like this hadn't been made so long ago, and it was much needed in this day and age where we're being told that America should be ashamed for itself, and they keep telling us America's not good. And I'm so proud of you and Dinesh for shedding light on what America has done.
Wow, well, that's quite an introduction. Well, thank you very much for the rave review on the film, and it's good to be on the program.
Well, the fun thing, which I didn't realize at first, is that some of the movie was shot here in St. Petersburg and Fort DeSoto. Why don't you talk about that?
Sure. I was actually just down there last week. I was on vacation with my family, and we spent quite a bit of time in the Clearwater area seeing Winter and Hope from Dolphin Tale, two 11-year-old daughters. But yes, we shot the landing of Columbus there on Fort DeSoto on the island there, and part of it was because I was gave us easy access to kind of open ocean with the replica boats of the Columbus replica boats.
Right.
So we were there for a couple weeks shooting on that little island and park there, and we built Indian villages, and we did all the landings of Columbus, rowing ashore, and everything else there. So we spent quite a bit of time there.
Let me ask you something, because they're always talking about the elitist and Americans feeling that they're better than everyone else, and they're persecuting people. And, I had this discussion with Dr. Bonatti earlier, because maybe not every American feels that way, but what we're hearing from mainstream media makes us want to be ashamed for who we are and what we've done. How was it for you producing and directing a film that was going to be something different than what we're hearing from mainstream media?
Well, I think part of it is just I don't believe that narrative, that, we've been the world's oppressor, that we've had, our boot on the neck of the rest of the world.
Right.
We're the most charitable nation in the country. When something like a Haiti or a tsunami across the world happens, who's the first to kind of rush in? Who gives the most money?
Yes.
It's America. It's always been America. And so from that standpoint, I've just never believed the narrative. One of my personal heroes is Ronald Reagan, who had great hope and optimism about this country. So I kind of see myself as like that Reagan optimist about America. Now, have we had problems? Yes, absolutely. Do we make mistakes? Absolutely. But as Alexis de Tocqueville talked about, America, and this is going back almost to our founding, one of the things that defined America differently was we were so quick to change direction, recognize our mistakes, and move on.
Yes.
And that we did have this charitable nature, this correctable nature about us, and that, we also had this individual self-determination kind of built in our DNA. So, I don't really believe that narrative that we're the world's oppressor. And for me, I wanted to share this with people. I guess this goes back to even my college days. When I'd have kind of these leftist professors, I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and, challenging these guys, even as a college student, that are we really this bad? If it's so, why are millions of immigrants trying to get into this country?
I love that point. Exactly.
Yeah, and so I think from that standpoint, I've just never believed that narrative that we are the bad guy.
Well, John, I have to ask. Hold on, I have to ask. I'm seeing you sitting in a very liberal college environment in San Francisco.
Yeah.
What did the college professor say when you made that statement?
Well, he was a full-on Berkeley Birkenstock wearing, the prototypical
dope smoking hippie,
Grateful Dead fan.
Yeah, for free speech. Well, I'm a Grateful Dead fan too. I think everybody in the Bay Area is, but and from that standpoint, and I will say he took the argument, and it was one that he at least acknowledged, and in that sense, and was fair about it, in that sense. But a lot of people, it's just a de facto mindset. They just listen to the Howard Zinn narrative, which we go through in the film, which Howard Zinn really has been the storyteller of America for 2 generations in college in his book, The People's History of the United States. And it's really Zinn that strings us together of saying, from the landing of Columbus, all the way up until present day, America's been the bad guy, just focusing on all the negative. Everything, that's ever been a dark spot on American history rather than any of the good that's ever happened. And so I think it's rebutting that narrative is so important to do in today's society, because it's seen de facto by college students today that is our history.
But why is it that we were so willing to accept that as the narrative?
Well, I think here's we go a little bit into this into the movie, but I think you have to look at during the late 1960s and the 1970s, you had this really big anti-colonial movement that kind of ties back into 2016 when we go back into President Obama and his ideology. But if you look in the movie with people like Ward Churchill and Bill Ayers, this is their mindset that America is this colonial power in Vietnam. Moving in to take resources, which is not a true narrative, by the way, at all. There was nothing in Vietnam to kind of quote-unquote steal or take in a colonial manner in that way. So what happens is you have all these kind of rabid anti-colonial leftist Marxists coming in. What happens to them? They become the professors within a generation, and then they start teaching the kids all of this stuff in college. So, this is kind of the de facto position of most professors, I think, particularly in history and sociology and things of this nature, the liberal arts. So that is why I think this got accepted so quickly with the People's History. And also in the movie we go through, it's really Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and Good Will Hunting who brought this to kind of popular culture and, popularized Howard Zinn.
Right. Well, John, we're coming up to a break. I really wish we had much more time with you. But again, America, Imagine the World Without Her, now available on DVD and on demand. Just quickly, what was the cost of this movie to make?
I can't really go into that, but I can guarantee you it was probably the catering budget of Transformers or Dark Knight. We made it on a shoestring budget. So and we shot it for 18 months around the country because we did Revolutionary War stuff there. St. Petersburg, we were shooting Columbus.
Right.
The Battle of Gettysburg, a lot of recreations. So we really kind of had a very shoestring budget as far as movies go to make this.
Fantastic.
John, do you have in mind other movie like that, other idea, other plans like that? Really would like to participate in something like that.
I love America. I love promoting America. We are definitely looking at having something coming out in 2016 during the presidential election. We're not exactly sure what that's going to be yet. I'm also involved in some other movies that will be coming out in theaters that are a little bit more just family-oriented and things like that. A movie called Where Hope Grows. It comes out in April of next year. I'm working on that. We're finishing that movie right now. So for me, we have lots of movies coming up. But to look more on America, you can visit our website, americathemovie.com.
Thank you very much for participating in the program. And I have to say, I hope they make your DVD part of the curriculum in our school system, because I think it's imperative that we have that conservative view and something that promotes the goodness of America.
Can I say one thing on that as we wrap up?
Yes.
There is actually a state senator in Florida that has put forward a bill to have that happen.
We had him on the program already, promoting that,
great.
and we hope it takes off everywhere throughout the United States. Thank you again, John Sullivan, director and producer of several films, including the smash hit 2016, Obama's America, and the latest, America, Imagine the World Without Her.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Well, you're listening to American Medicine Today. If you or someone you know is suffering with neck, back, or sciatic pain, they can reach out to the Bonati Spine Institute, 855-267-0483, or visit Bonati.com. Keep in mind, we're on Bloomberg, we're on ABC, WFTS, and if you've got a Twitter account, you can tweet at Dr. Bonati. You going to whistle? And you're listening to American Medicine Today. Coming up next, we're going to speak to Dr. Michael O'Neill from Cooperative Med, Concierge Medicine. Can't wait to tell you more. Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thank you for continuing to listen to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by Aaron Jacobson, our fill-in executive producer, while Ethan Euchre's on vacation. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And across from me, I have world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati. Thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you.
And you'll be excited, Dr. Bonati, because in studio, to my right, I have Dr. Michael O'Neill from Cooperative Med. Now, he has a concierge medicine practice, and we actually had interviewed you for a television program, which should be airing pretty soon. And what an exciting time that we had at your facility. There was this really great gentleman. We went to the house to kind of see you in action and what it is that you do. But with that said, you have concierge medicine. So for the listeners out there, why don't you explain what that is and how your practice came to be and what obstacles you found along the way and where you are now?
Well, I don't know if the show's long enough to discuss the obstacles, but let's start with the definition of concierge medicine. How's that?
Sure.
Concierge medicine is actually a low-volume medical practice. It's supported by an annual membership fee that's paid by patient subscribers.
Okay.
And that, in turn, allows the physician to manage a lower volume of patients and provide a higher level of service and arguably a higher level of care.
Right. What type of cost is associated with that? Is that something you want to get into here as far as membership fees?
Sure. The membership fees vary.
Okay.
And across the country, the average membership fee for a patient that subscribes to a concierge practice is in the ballpark of $1,500 to $1,600 per individual.
Okay.
And that varies. Some demographics
Sure.
will demand a higher amount and
Right.
some a little bit lower.
Okay.
And in our practice, the fee schedule ranges from $1,650 for an individual
Okay.
up to as much as $4,250 for a large family.
Now, again, for the people listening, what does that cover?
Really, it's an access fee more than a fee that covers actual medical services. So what it does is it allows me to keep my volume low, and that changes how the practice functions.
Okay.
So it allows me to provide certain services and amenities that are just impossible to provide in a high volume practice. And some of those things, as you know, include home visits, 24-hour direct access to your physician, no waiting, same-day appointments, and the list goes on and on. It really revolves around the needs of the consumer.
Right. It was so touching when we filmed you in your practice because we went on one of those house calls. And quite honestly, it felt like your patient felt like you were family, that you had been incorporated into their family for years. How long have some of these patients been with you?
Well, it's interesting that you picked up on that because that's exactly how it is. I mean, the particular individual that you saw had been in my practice since I started the practice back in 2002.
Right.
So it's hard not to develop a relationship with a patient.
Nearly 13 years.
That's been around that long. And the volume of the practice is low. We're talking about only 400, 500 patients
Right.
compared to a traditional practice that has thousands of patients. So it's a lot easier for me to develop that trust and that understanding and therefore have a a deeper relationship with the patient compared to a high volume practice.
Do you feel as though that helps you better understand their medical background because you're the one primary doctor that they're used to seeing? So you have that, how would you say it, like a comprehensive look at their background versus them kind of picking and choosing all different doctors to go to?
Without a doubt, what it does is it allows me to promote a collaborative relationship with the patient.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a partnership. So I hold the patient responsible just like they hold me responsible for the ultimate results. So it's really a partnership. And by having that deeper relationship with the patient, you can engender trust, which I think helps improve compliance and hopefully allows us to achieve our ultimate goals.
Right.
And how many patients do you see in a day?
It depends, but on an average day, I may see 8 to 10 patients a day. But the nice thing about that is I don't have the time constraints that a primary care physician in a high volume practice would have. So in other words, I don't have to be confined to a 7-minute visit. I can see a patient, spend an hour with a patient. Sometimes on a patient's very first visit, I may spend 2.5 hours with them on their very first encounter. So it changes the dynamics of the relationship, and I think it allows me to be a more efficient physician.
Very, very interesting. We apply some rules, not equal but similar. In our practice, we don't allow the physicians to see more than 3 new patients a day. So you can not only discuss with them the problems and the capacity of treatment, and the conversation goes from a social conversation to really the medical conversation that allow the physician not only to know more deeply the patient needs and the worries and the fears, and also at the same time how can we help. So I think your idea and the thing that you are creating is really to return back to the good medicine.
Now, you started this practice over a decade ago. How have you seen it evolve to where it is now?
Well, the healthcare climate's changed, as we know, in many ways. And 13 years ago, being the original, founder of the concept here in Tampa Bay, I had no competition. But basically by doing that, I created my competition. So that's very flattering to me. But in turn, as the competition around me has changed, and as the healthcare climate has changed with the Affordable Care Act, I too have tried to evolve. I've actually developed and will be launching in January the original and very first concierge dental practice in Tampa Bay as well, and that will be married to my concierge medical practice. So we've done a lot of interesting things in regards to trying to set the bar a little bit higher.
That's great.
And when you encounter a patient who needs a treatment that requires practically to be in a hospital or to be treated surgically, how you handle that?
That's a great question. A lot of concierge physicians don't manage their patients in the hospital, and to me, it doesn't make sense. That's what you're paying for. You're paying for your patient or your physician advocate. So in our practice, I manage the care of the patients in the hospital. I do the admission, and I decide on who's consulted, if anybody.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So you're not removing really the dangerous part of the healthcare, because sometimes you're going to be confronted with when an individual who comes to you has a COPD and then develop pneumonia, and then you're going to treat them in the practice. You need to diagnose in the practice. You need to put together your plan, but then you need to have a supervision in a hospital and some help in the hospital. If you have that access, then you have the best of both worlds.
Right. The one thing I've learned over the last 13 years is that my role really is as a physician advocate. And that's what's lacking in high volume medicine, is that it's impossible for a single physician to be an advocate for 5,000, 6,000 patients. It just can't happen. But in my world, it can. And so it's important for me to advocate on behalf of that patient, whether it be in the hospital or in the ambulatory care setting, or if it even means me going to the visit with another physician. So there are often times where if I refer a patient to you, I will actually attend that visit with the patient to make sure questions get answered and make sure the right questions are asked.
Fantastic.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dr. Bonati.
One of the things that I always see that we lack in medicine is because of the volume and the management of practices, sometimes physicians delegate their responsibilities, that is practically the diagnosis, in a substandard trained individual. I'm not saying that the physician assistant is not well trained. I'm not saying the nurse practitioner is not well trained, but it's not close trained as a physician. And I'm seeing in practices all over, and preferably in family practice, that the physician doesn't really supervise the nurse practitioner. The nurse practitioner is doing the job of a physician. That transition is not only dangerous for medicine, it's extremely dangerous for the patients, because it's not the same go to a training of 2 or 3 years as a nurse and go to a training of 20 years as a physician. Not only you have different ethics, you have different morals, you have different knowledge, and you have a tremendous amount of accumulation of experience that happens to you in the training programs. And that situation is one of the resentful situations that I have today with anything that allows the politicians or the healthcare industry associated with insurance companies to try to talk to physicians like physicians will be individuals with poor training. To become a doctor, you need several years, not only to be one of the best in your studies since you're a kid, but at the same time be one of the best in competition with your peers when you're in training. This individual cannot disappear from society. And the socialistic system is trying to destroy that image and create quote-unquote medical providers. That's the worst insult that happens in medicine to a doctor, because a medical provider is a nurse, it can be anybody, but not the doctor. So that situation is something that we always need to go and clarify, number one. Number two, it's very important that doctors like you in this case create this type of a practice, because that practice will straight up the insurance companies and the way that patients are going to be treated, because it's a heart. The ethics and the heart of medicine is in that person who's a doctor.
I agree with everything you said. You articulated that very well, by the way. One of the nice things about the low volume concierge practice model, at least in my case, is that I don't delegate the care of the patient to anybody else. No mid-level providers and anybody else. I'm in charge, and that will not change. And that is that power, that the responsibility has been diluted in recent years. And I even see some concierge practices, even locally, that have mid-level providers involved in the care of the patient. And to me, if a patient's paying a premium for that physician, then that's what they should get.
That's when the corruption starts. Now that you create this idea, will be a very good idea at the same time that you start to put some rules and regulations to be able to be a cooperative physician that create this type of practice. There should be some rule regulations. Should be a physician in charge, and should not be. I mean, you can have nurses to do some of the job, but you cannot have other individuals in the middle that they are going to be responsible to deliver health.
Let me stop you right there. If you have time, can you join us in our fourth segment, because we're up on a break?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, with that being said, coming up, you're going to hear more about what Dr. Michael O'Neill and Dr. Bonati think about what's going on with medicine. You're listening to American Medicine Today. We'll have more after the break. Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
You're listening to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by Aaron Jacobson, our fill-in executive producer, while Ethan Euchre's out. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And for those of you that were listening before the break, we still have world-renowned orthopedic surgeon here with us, Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute, and in studio, our guest, Dr. Michael O'Neill. We held him over. Normally, we talk about what's new in American medicine today, but hey, it's still part of that, and we're talking about his concierge medicine practice called Cooperative Med. He has offices not only in Clearwater, but as well in Tampa. And he started his practice in 2002, and we've been talking about how everything's evolved till current. So quite some time that your practice has been around. I know that you were up against some diversity when you first started, where it almost shut down your facility. Do you just want to kind of briefly talk about that, or you want to talk about happy things? I'm sure 'cause it's a thriving company, but.
It is, but to get to where I'm at today, it was those obstacles that led to my success. So yes. I wouldn't change anything, actually. But in the early days when I launched the practice, I was fresh out of residency from the University of South Florida. I had no patient population to market internally to and convert a concierge practice. I had no money, so I couldn't market myself formally. Right. So good thing I was naive, because otherwise I don't know if I knew what I knew today, I may not have done it. Right. But fortunately, I had tremendous tenacity, tremendous drive, and I had a passion for doing things a little bit different.
Right.
And I believed in the concept, and I thought that it had a role in our healthcare system. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty amazing to look at it 13 years later and see where it's gone.
Yes. Well, Dr. Bonati, I know you were in the midst of asking him some very important questions, so why don't you take it away?
Well, I think what really makes you strong is those fights, because once you are able to control the misunderstanding or the different opinions and things like that, and you channel that to a successful practice, then the people is going to start to imitate the practice, and it's not going to be unusual to start to see that the family physicians in the next 10 years or so are going to take your model, and they're going to start to do. The ideal will be that you start to talk to the physicians in your specialty, start to sit with them, ask them to come out from this trashy type of medicine that is being practiced today, where really you have no contact with your doctor, you have no contact with the results that the doctor had on his hands, you have no communication. The poor patient comes over, sees you, really, he comes to see you, but he never sees you. Sees somebody else there who becomes really his doctor, but it's not a doctor. He's a nurse practitioner, he's a physician assistant, or sometimes even a nurse. And then the next thing that happens with that situation is the relationship between the doctor and the patient is severed.
Right.
And you may look, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. I look at a patient, and in 10 minutes, I know what's wrong with that patient, because the experience that we have, the tremendous amount of exposure of thousands and thousands of patients tells us the next patient teaches us something new, and the next patient teaches something new, and at the very end, you have so much accumulation of knowledge that you see somebody and you know what's wrong. That doesn't happen with people that they are not in training 20 years in medicine.
They're turning it from really a doctor-patient relationship and really understanding the family to more or less like an assembly line. And it's sickening because so many people fall through the cracks, and you're not getting that individualized attention. That's why we loved when we went on that interview with you to the patient's house, because you saw that bond and there was true care from the doctor to the patient.
But you know something? Let's talk about three things that are important here in the practice of medicine. One is you need to really care for your patient. The second is you need to practice in a certain way that you're comfortable. And the third, you need to have an income that allows you to be reasonably well so you can support your family and you can be peaceful in your mind when you go and serve a physician, when you go and serve a patient. Your mind is not how I'm going to pay this or how I'm going to do that or this mortgage. It needs to be. That's why physicians need to be in a level of an economical level that is peaceful, so can serve peacefully to the patients. I really think your idea is so wonderful that if I will be you, I will be immediately getting in touch with different physicians of your specialty and opening an association and create this practice with X amount of patients. Okay, imagine that you have 10 doctors, and each doctor will produce they will produce 1,000 patients per year. Those are going to be the patients that he's going to see, but personally he's going to see. That's around 3 patients a day.
Yeah,
okay. If you see 3 patients a day, you can have a hell of a good time with that patient. Talk about all the life, know that patient as your family, and stay with them and discuss things. What is really important with that is now you have 10 different practices. You are saying 10,000 patients, but it's being seen by a doctor, and the doctor is the one who now has a very fun type of a relationship with the patient. But at the same time, you control those practices.
Well, Dr. O'Neill, again, your company is called Cooperative Med. You have offices in Clearwater and Tampa. If somebody wants to find out more about the services you offer for concierge medicine, how do they do so?
They can go to the website, cooperativemed.com, or they can call the office at 727-784-8829.
Well, we really appreciate you being on the show. There's so much more that we wish we were able to discuss. We would like to have you come back in at some point and talk some more. Sure. You're listening to American Medicine Today. If you or someone you know is suffering with neck, back, or sciatic pain, they can reach out to the Bonati Spine Institute at 855-267-0483 or visit Bonati.com. Well, that about wraps it up for this week. Check out the American Medicine Today TV show on Bloomberg, airing Saturdays and Sundays. Check your local listings. And here locally on WFTS ABC 28 here in Tampa at 7:30. Next week, you'll hear more about what's new in American Medicine Today.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome has been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.